This is it, the moment we've been building towards for 3 days. Welcome to the grand finale of the Sages Lab career program. If you've been with us from the beginning, you're armed and ready. If you're just joining, buckle up, you're about to get the master key. Just a refresher, the Sages Lab career program is a transformative 3-day virtual summit designed to equip aspiring Web3 and data professionals with the strategy, portfolio skills, and negotiation tactics needed to launch and accelerate their global careers. For 2 days, we mapped the battlefield and forged your weapons. Today, we teach you how to charge in and take the flag. This is not about waiting for an opportunity. This is about creating your breakthrough. I'm Oyo Baziakwa, and this session has one mission: to turn you into a hackathon champion and a bounty hunter. This is where portfolios become prizes and skills become wins. Let's go. A lightning fast recap because we have no time to waste. Day one, you learned to position on the global stage. Day two, you learned to build a portfolio that shouts your skills. Today, day three, you learn to go out there and win. But this isn't just a talk. This is a blueprint for victory. And the person delivering it has lived it at the highest level. Before we bring him on, I want you to type in the chat right now, I want to win. Let's see that energy. Type in the comment section, I want to win. So I know you guys are following. Awesome. Awesome. Mr. Brandyn is not just a speaker, he is a winner. He's here to deconstruct his playbook, winning hackathons and bounties the data and blockchain way. He will reveal where to find these golden opportunities, how to build an unstoppable team, and the secret to a submission that makes judges say, this is the one. This is the session that separates spectators from champions. Are you ready? Awesome. Okay. So, Mr. Brandyn Hamilton is an award-winning developer and multidisciplinary analyst with a master's in management and financial technology. Previous head of data at crypto news publication, Ournetwork, currently building HTTpayer, a payment layer for APIs implementing the X-Fall2 protocol. Recognized at several global competitions hosted by Chainlink, Uniswap, and the superchain ecosystem, and work featured by institutions including Delphi Digital and A16Z. Let's welcome him with the biggest virtual applause you can muster. It is my absolute honor to bring to the stage Mr. Brandyn. Mr. Brandyn, sir, the floor is yours. It's an honor to have you here.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Thanks for having me as well. Super excited to present more or less winning hackathons and bounties, the blockchain and data way, provide some insight into some of the skills that I've been able to develop over a year and a half or so of competing in these hackathons and different bounties, and hopefully you can all take some good information and apply it to your own careers as well. So I'll just go ahead and get started. Again, I'll be going over winning hackathons and bounties, the data and blockchain way. And while there was a brief intro, I'll just go a little bit more into my background. So I'm originally from the US, but I'm living in Panama City, a master's in management in fintech. Previously worked as research analyst, data scientist, lead head of data at Ournetwork. and right now working as a co-founder and CTO of HTTpayer, which can summarize as a agentic payments infrastructure for the machine-to-machine economy. And then just going briefly into some of the awards and recognitions that I've won so far within the past year and a half. You can split it out into research and data. So far, I've won the Uniswap Community Research Program. This was their second challenge, focusing on studying the impact of gas subsidies on trader behavior. Also won the Superchain Research Initiative competition, where we were looking into the on-chain indicators of engaged DAO voters. And then going into the hackathons that I've won so far, been winner of the Sherry Minithon 2025, winner of the Chainlink Chromium Hackathon for their cross-chain solutions track, and this is actually where the idea for HTTpayer came about. And more recently, within the past 2 weeks or so, I've won the Solana X402 Hackathon for their Coinbase developer platform track, as well as the Avalanche Hack to Build Payments X402 Edition Hackathon, which just closed, I think, earlier this week. So I'll get right into the topic at hand, where to find Web3 hackathons. So just from my experience, I've seen that there are maybe three kind of main areas or locations where you can find these hackathons and bounties. Social media is a big one. You need to follow a lot of people in the Web3 ecosystem or just fintech generally on their X or Twitter accounts. Typically, you'll see a lot of people retweeting, quote retweeting, even founders and different Web3 and fintech companies that are partnered with different hackathon organizations or events. They'll typically try to boost those hackathons or those bounties on their social medias. Telegram groups are another good, I would say, resource for finding Web3 hackathons and bounties. I'm specifically shouting out this one group called Crypto Data Bytes, which is definitely helped within the last 2 years of finding not only hackathons but as well as contract gigs and as well as full-time jobs as well. Farcaster is going to be another good research as well for those who aren't aware. That's a more or less a blockchain-based social media platform, but you're able to find a lot of good resources there. Then moving into another good location to find a lot of these opportunities are going to be just dedicated hackathon platforms. And right here, I've shouted out three that I've been able to find success in. Devfolio is where I found the Chainlink Chromium Hackathon. Dora Hacks is another good platform, and they typically are running at least 5 hackathons at any given time. ETH Global, which I believe is backed by the Ethereum Foundation, they typically have in-person or online hackathons, maybe once every month or once every 2 months. And another really good resource to find these opportunities are going to be like local fintech or Web3 groups. And I highlight here that the in-person events typically equal less competition. So if you are a competent data analyst or a programmer or developer, if you're attending an in-person event, there's I would say a higher likelihood compared to some of the online events where you're competing with people from all around the world. You may be competing with thousands of people in comparison to the more local or in-person events where it may be 100 people or less. So I'll just touch on strategy, teamwork, and storytelling for those hackathon and bounty submissions. Highlighting here that planning is key. It's really important at the beginning of whichever bounty or hackathon you're participating in to understand the ideal submission versus realistic deliverables. A lot of hackathons can range from anywhere from like 2 to 3 days to a month. So it's super important to understand what is realistic to be developed and and cleaned up within the given timeline for that hackathon, for that bounty. Definitely say, well, I've won a few hackathons. There's, probably even more that, I haven't as well. And I think for a lot of those, it wasn't because the idea I had was bad, or that my teammates weren't pulling their weight as well. It's more so that just given the ideas that we wanted to implement for that hackathon, the different project ideas that we had, it just maybe wasn't realistic for us to tackle all of those different features, and all of those different maybe technology integrations. So it's super important to define the scope of what you want to deliver, and that segues into the next bullet point I have here. Think of a project that would be viable outside of a hackathon, and especially like the wow factor. So, once you're able to define the scope, you can see what you'll be able to deliver within the hackathon, and then you can, maybe think of a timeline of other features that aren't realistic to implement within that timeline, but would be, ideal as part of, a broader project, or even going into an actual startup or business like that. And then, I mentioned here like the wow factor, because with hackathons, you're going to see the judges are going to see a whole lot of different projects. So you definitely need to be able to differentiate yourself, compared to everyone else that's out there. So you need to maybe for example, for the Chainlink Hackathon, I think we were the only one that was building on X402, and this was back in, I want to say, May or June. So yeah, we looked through all the different submissions that were presented for the hackathon. We were like, okay, I think we're the only ones doing X402, and when we actually went on the event, when Chainlink was going over who won, they were just like, yeah, we weren't familiar with X402, but now we're doing deep research, and we're super happy to see this project come about. So that wow factor could be implementing or integrating a new technology that maybe just came about, or kind of really anything that's going to help you stand out compared to all of the other projects and submissions out there. And then another big, I guess, thing to think about as well is going to be defining a clear role separation. And this is going to depend on if you're doing it alone or as a team. So I would definitely recommend uh, participating in hackathons or potentially bounties with a team, because it's going to be your submission is going to be a lot more thorough, a lot more well thought out, and a lot more well rounded. You'll be able to have the analytics, the back end, the front end, essentially everything nice, cleanly polished. If you're hacking with a competent group of other analysts or developers or researchers. And that's also to say that it may not make sense for a hackathon team of 3 backend developers or a hackathon team of 3 Solidity developers. So planning out the team members that you want to participate with is going to be another huge thing to consider. And even though I said, I would recommend participating with a team, since you'll be able to have a much more well-rounded submission, well-rounded project. I definitely don't be afraid to, do it alone, especially if you aren't able to find team members that may add, a benefit to the team and to the project. I think I participated in a few hackathons alone, and while I didn't win, I definitely learned a lot. I definitely made some good connections, and networking as well. And I'd say that the more hackathons that you participate in, you're just going to develop that muscle to understand what the judges are looking for, what is realistic to deliver. And I think doing it alone, you're really going to develop that hackathon muscle. Maybe the best way to put it. Another, I guess, key thing here, I would say, is building in public, sharing and connecting what you're actually building or doing in that bounty or in that hackathon. Super important to connect with other participants and other judges. And it's also great that a lot of these hackathons, they'll typically post the winners on Twitter or on LinkedIn, so that you're easily able to do a quote retweet, do another retweet, and that's how you get people that maybe are interested in your project to directly connect with you and more or less stay along with your career, with your journey, as time goes on. And yeah, I'll even say here that with the Chainlink Chromium Hackathon, where we won with the HTTpayer project, um, that project was actually in you could say like limbo, kind of was just on maintenance for a few months or so until we realized that someone from Coinbase had saw Chainlink's tweet, and sent us a DM, and they wanted to see a demo of HTTpayer. They were interested in seeing the application, the project, grow, deploy on mainnet and everything like that. So building in public and just being active on the different social media platforms is going to help. Even if you don't win the hackathon, share what you did. Share that demo as well on Twitter or whichever platform you're on, because it's going to someone's going to see it, and even if you didn't win, the project or the idea that you had may be so interesting that maybe you'll find other team members, or you could maybe find people from companies like Coinbase or whoever it may be that still find the project or hackathon idea interesting. And yeah, I definitely am always looking to connect with other analysts, other developers, just in general to give feedback on different project ideas, and then just generally, if you had any ideas that you'd want to run by me, and any advice that I may be able to give regarding different hackathons or research bounties, I'd be open to have a conversation and go from there. I'm here. I'm sharing my personal X account, bhammy628, my LinkedIn as well. Feel free to connect. I'm always open to connect on LinkedIn. And then I'm also going to key in here with HTTpayer. We are looking for beta testers. As mentioned before, we're kind of doing a payment layer on X402. So right now we're offering subsidized API calls, exclusive access to new and upcoming products and features. And I've also included the X account as well. So if you are interested in what we're doing with HTTpayer as well, feel free to just reach out to me on X or LinkedIn, and I'd be happy to get you on board and get you started. So that's all I had regarding slides, but I'd be happy to answer any questions or anything else that I've gone over.
Mind blowing, Mr. Brandon. Thank you so much for that. You just dropped like an ultimate treasure mark for us. So, guys, we would be using 5 minutes or most likely more for questions, right? So, any questions that you may have for Mr. Brandon regarding hackathons, teams, and the rest, feel free to ask your questions for Mr. Brandon. We'll be watching out in the comment section for any questions that you may have. Guys, if there are any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, so we have a question. The question is In hackathons, they usually say they don't need researchers. How can I show I'm useful to the team?
That's a really good question, and I'll say the hackathon team that won at the Chainlink hackathon for HTTpayer. It was me focusing more on back end. We had someone on front end, and then we had as essentially someone who was less technical in programming, but they did like the background research. They were able to maybe look into the different technologies that we should implement. They were able to look into you know maybe some features or some ideas that we should implement, that would make us most applicable for all the different hackathon prizes as well. So that's maybe less technical research and more like helping organize the hackathon project and keep it on track. But I would say outside of that as well, just even regarding maybe more technical research to help guide the project, is also going to be helpful as well. So I would say, if they say they don't need researchers, definitely just maybe share some previous work that you've done as an example, and maybe even within that same message, try to come across why they may be able to win by having a researcher on their team, giving maybe concrete examples, or maybe asking them questions that they may not have thought of, because I think a lot of hackathon teams focus on the having technical expertise, but there are definitely non-technical or more maybe research-based questions that maybe we don't think about until like an hour before we submit, and we may have realized that we missed something, or something needs to be expanded on as well. So yeah, I would say a combination of all those things.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that response, sir. So,
Of course.
yes, thank you so much. Personally, I have a question for you, sir. Can I go ahead?
Sure. Sure.
Okay. So, the the question I have is, judges see hundreds of projects, like hundreds of projects, but like in your experience, what's one simple thing a project can do in its presentation to immediately grab a judge attention, basically, in its presentation or submission to grab a judge's attention?
Definitely. Well, yeah, I think I mentioned earlier in my presentation, just identifying that wow factor, maybe even before you start coding or program, or doing whatever. Looking at the different tracks, the different requirements that the judges want or looking into, maybe even doing some research into the company, or the each judge, look into their background, look into what they're interested in, or what the company is looking to support, even outside of hackathons as well. And really defining that wow factor is going to set you apart. And yeah, definitely thinking outside of the box is going to help. Trying to be the first to implement something is always going to be super impressive for hackathon judges, and it doesn't need to be the most complex or the most out of this world implementation, but just being able to say that this is the first implementation of XYZ, and that you were able to do it during the hackathon is going to immediately set you apart from all of those different participants and projects.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for that. Okay, another question I have is, what's like the biggest misconception people have about hackathons? that hold them back from entering?
Mhm. So yeah, I think a lot of people maybe think they need to be maybe a pro coder or a pro programmer in order to, be able to maybe even win a hackathon. But I've seen that it's usually better to sell the story than to have the fully working application, because I think most hackathons, they aren't looking for a fully polished product or application. It's more so, can you sell the idea, and then maybe in your demo, can you show, at the very least, some basic functionality, even if it's a mocked up functionality. So yeah, you don't need to be the best, the best coder. I just think it's more so defining that wow factor, what's going to set you apart. And if you aren't the strongest developer, just defining and understanding what are the realistic deliverables that you can do or you can accomplish for the hackathon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir, for that response. So, a question from one of the audience: what do you think is the technical stack or stacks needed to execute an average Web3 hackathon?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's funny. I think I'm maybe a little bit different from some other Web3 maybe developers or hackathon winners. I think the stack for a while has been like TypeScript and Solidity. TypeScript, you can do front end, back end, Solidity on chain as well, and kind of boom, like that's it. Whereas I learned programming through like data analysis and data science. So my main stack has typically been like Python, Solidity, and then going from there, usually I'm just creating a super basic front end with HTML, some basic CSS, and some super basic JavaScript if needed, if necessary. So to get to your question, I wouldn't say there's maybe one stack that is going to put you above the rest. I would definitely say being able to read Solidity is going to be probably one of the most important things, because you're likely building something on chain. But even if you're not the strongest Solidity developer, at the very least, understanding some of the different libraries that allow you to interact with smart contracts. So Web3.py or WAGMI, like We Are Going to Make It, that TypeScript library as well. I think most programming languages have a Web3 interface library that's going to help you make those on-chain transactions in scripts or other apps. So I think it's more so, getting really good at that Web3 library in whichever programming language that you're most proficient with.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir. I believe he has answered your question to the audience who asked that. Okay. So I do not see any more questions in the comment section. Thank you so much, sir, for that. Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for that amazing session. So we'll be moving forward with the next thing on the agenda, which is our CTA. So, guys, share your key lessons from this session today across your socials on X, LinkedIn, Instagram. Use the hashtag Career Acceleration 2025 and hashtag B3. Tag us at Sages Lab and we will, of course, repost it. Next on the agenda is our programs. We have the Cohort 6 Mentorship Demo Day coming up on Monday by 7 p.m. UTC plus 1. So if you're yet to register, please do come out and support our Cohort 6 students from Analytics Stages while they do a little bit of presentation for us. The link to register would be posted in the comment section. So if you are yet to register, do well to do so. Next up, we have our programs. We have the learning parts, become a blockchain data analyst with SQL on Dune, which the registration would be ending on the 30th of January next year, and classes begin on the 2nd of February next year. Then also we have the Python learning parts, which the deadline for registration is on the 27th of February next year, and classes resumes on the 2nd of March. So the program links would be shared in the comment section. So do well to register. Next up, meet Sages Lab, our flagship organization. So, Sages Lab is a research and development hub building on-chain data-driven solutions. And under Sages Lab, we have our few subsidiaries, IntelliSages, Analytics Sages, and Fluxo. IntelliSages is a blockchain data intelligence consulting and advisory firm that helps to accelerate Web3 adoption across Africa. Analytics Sages is our learning platform that demystifies on-chain analysis and takes people from beginner to expert in the field. Fluxo, recently launched, is an autonomous private intelligence agent that understands the market and executes high-value strategy without information leakages, particularly for DeFi. So guys, do well to follow us across all platforms if you're yet to do so. Few key takeaways from this session. Mr. Brandyn generously shared platforms where we could find Web3 hackathons, where he broke down places like X, Telegram groups, Farcaster, and then he also shared the hackathon platforms like DevFolio, DoroHacks, ETH Global. And he also mentioned Web3 groups where we would, of course, go like in person events equals less competition. Then he stated that when you involve yourself in hackathons, it gives you a strong muscle when it comes to applying or engaging in hackathons. So you begin to understand what the judges are looking for. So a list of what we've been able to accomplish within the past 3 days of the career program: one, a strategy for global positioning; two, a weapon grade portfolio; and three, a champion's playbook to actively conquer the arena. This trilogy is complete, but your story is just getting started. You don't have to wait for permission. You have the map, the tools, and the tactics. The hackathons are live, the bounties are posted. Your future is waiting to be claimed. From the entire Analytics Sages and Sages Lab team, go forth, build, and win. This has been the Career Acceleration Program. I'm Onyi Obazi Akwa, and we are out. Thank you so much, guys.